a creative learning lead for UCAN Productions, who are a not-for-profit, soon to become a fully fledged charity based in Cardiff, Wales, and working throughout Wales. UCAN was formed in 2005, working with young visually impaired people and their friends. And primarily, UCAN was set up as a drama and theatre company, with all the sort of confidence building and vocal development that comes with that. When I came along in 2009, I'm a music tech specialist, or nerd, if we want to use that word. I studied music for a master's, music technology, and I started working with UCAN and brought in music and sound in a way that I wasn't really expecting, and they weren't expecting, I suppose, and it's been quite experimental for me, figuring out ways to use music tech with vision impaired young people. So just as part of a quick intro, what are we looking at here? I've got to share my screen again. Bear with me. Share screen. Okay, we're good, aren't we? Yeah, okay. So the UCAN logo is currently on the screen. It's black lettering on a yellow background with the braille in white of the letters UCAN, which stands for Unique Creative Arts Network. Now moving on, you can see one of our drama workshops taking place at our annual festival. So there's lots of UCAN members wearing our t-shirts in a big circle with their hands in the air, being led through a workshop by some of our vision impaired trainers who are now adults who've grown up with UCAN and learned to be trainers. So this takes place every year at the Wales Millennium Centre. Also, we have live performances. So on stage, on the screen now, is a bit of a ukulele orchestra. So we have a bunch of young UCAN members who've just been taught how to play the ukulele. So yeah, we do a lot of ukulele work, basically. We've got a guy on the left who's a trainer of ours who actually makes ukuleles, so we're in good hands there. We also have, I've got a, there we go. UCAN has been involved in a great many quite professional level dramatic productions. Some of the members who grew up with us went on to become, I can hear my voice coming out of my laptop, so bear with me. Very skilled actors, and this is we've been in a lot of theatrical productions in serious theatres. On the screen is a Dylan Thomas performance, followed by a bit of Shakespeare, followed by an original piece, all with our vision impaired young members, some of whom have gone on to become professional actors. Now back to what I do. This is me presenting a very young member with an iPad so he can play with the app Nano Studio. I don't know if that's still around, but I started investigating how music tech could be used to interact with our young people. Moving on, this is one of our sessions. I'm with, sat next to me is a severely autistic young man who is one of our members, and did a lot of work around the use of microphones with autism and some incredible results of what you can do with microphones. That's a whole other topic entirely. But you'll see a lot of me using Native Instruments Machine. This is the Mark II. There's a young man on screen who is pressing the button. Well, he's not pressing the buttons, he's getting his teddy bear to press the buttons to trigger some musical sounds. And some other young people using Machine with my support. This is one of our members who is a rapper. He lost his hearing and sight. This guy learned to use a bit of Reaper too. Actually, I taught him to use that, and he realized he could start to record his own demos in his bedroom. We also offer Arts Awards, which is an accredited qualification now accompanying our creative activities. We're an Arts Award Champion Centre. This is something that's run by Trinity College London. But the point is, I've investigated all sorts of music tech accessibility angles, but it's always me providing it. It's always me sort of mediating it between, the technology itself and the young people. I know how to use Machine. I don't know what's going on up there now. I know how to use Machine, but I had to read hundreds of pages of manual to be able to do it. So the theme here is music tech and beginners, young people, kids, I suppose. And for this, I'm going to hand over to my friend Rob now, who was a UCAN member at a very young age, who's going to talk a little bit about his own journey with music tech. Over to you, Rob.
So just to start, you will have to help me out if "Will You Marry Me, Rob" pops up. Maybe give me a shout. Having said that, my partner's dad is here today, so maybe don't, actually. We talk about music tech and access to music tech, and a common theme today has been barriers and bridging the gap. And none more than actually getting this microphone fitted over the absolute monstrosity of hair on my head. Pretty tricky. So my story in terms of music tech is pretty simple. I grew up musical. I wouldn't like to say musician, but
He is.
but performer certainly growing up. I did a lot of public speaking, poetry reciting, and folk singing, that sort of thing, with a bit of musical stuff thrown in. When I got to sixth form, year 12, I was extraordinarily excited about the prospect of taking a music tech A-level. I'd always been interested in sort of music tech without calling it music tech. I was always recording stuff off the radio. It's that cliche thing, isn't it? We've all done it. Recording stuff onto tapes from the radio. I used to record football matches and that sort of stuff. And when music tech came along as an A-level option, that was brilliant for me. I was dead excited. But I was also 16 and naive. I went to a mainstream school in rural North Wales, and to put it bluntly, nobody had a clue how I was going to be able to do a music tech A-level. I didn't have a clue how I was going to do a music tech A-level. We started off using GarageBand on Mac OS. This is back in 2011. That was okay-ish until you tried to do anything, really. I could read the track names, though. And pretty soon it became apparent that it wasn't going to work. We were trying to do some sequencing and recording and that sort of stuff, and it just wasn't happening. Now, the support systems around me, they didn't know, I didn't know, and I was also trying to teach, trying to learn music tech. You know, I was trying to learn the subject as well as try and work out the best accessible way to do it, and that just became a massive strain on me, to be honest. I was also going through stage 4 kidney failure at the time, so it wasn't great. We reached out to lots of different organisations, VI organisations, as well as sort of music tech-based stuff, and nobody had a solid answer for us. In the end, I think we got in touch with RNC. They suggested Sonar as an option. That then had to be sort of put through local authorities to see if they, had the money to pay for it, essentially, as well as a JAWS license, because I was already using MVDA by then. By the time they decided that, yeah, go on then, we'll give you the money, I had 2 months left on a 2-year course. And I just had a kidney transplant. So it didn't happen. I failed my music tech A-level because I just couldn't concentrate on actually learning the subject as well as failing to do any of the digital side of it. And I suppose that's what's kind of important when we talk about music tech for beginners. All of us here, well, not all of us, but a lot of us here are, as has been mentioned, nerds or geeks or whatever. We're in the community. If a friend of mine wanted to start learning about music tech today, he could, because he knows me, or he knows John, or he knows Andre. We're all here, we're all connected, there's a community, but how do you bridge that gap between the people who are already in there and their contacts to the people who have never heard of it? They're not online, they're kids, they're people in schools who just have an interest, and how do you get started with that? I definitely believe that if there had been something more substantial in terms of resources for VI kids in mainstream education, then I would have taken music tech a lot further. I mean, I went to university after school, but then encountered even more access barriers, so decided to choose women and narcotics instead of going to lectures. Because I just had just way too much access problems to even consider doing anything. So I went away from music tech, from pretty much anything like that. Everything that I know now about music tech, I've learned from the community, from people, from my own sort of research, and that's great, but it shouldn't be like that. Anyone who wants to get into that in a sort of formal way, through education, through school, through college, should have the same sort of chance as everybody else. And you shouldn't have to burden yourself with trying to find the solutions as well as trying to actually learn a subject, because it's just not going to work. So that's my sort of my spin on things. I've been involved with UCAN for years and years and years, since I was 10. They are an incredible organisation who use art, I suppose, drama, music, all that sort of stuff to promote advocacy, to promote body language, body image, confidence, all through the medium of art. And I have seen the incredible work that they've done over the years. I've worked with them multiple times. We actually we did a Reaper course through lockdown, very small introduction to Reaper. I led that over Zoom, and it was just incredible to see young people sort of taking themselves from zero, of no sort of knowledge about music tech, to actually making a very basic kind of soundscape with dialogue, sound effects, ambience, and being able to then tidy that up and trim the edges off and that kind of thing. And to see them do that on Zoom, in sort of 3 sessions, is just brilliant. Everything is there now for music tech to be a viable option for VI people. And that's why I think bridging the gap is such a great phrase, because that's what we need to do, is to bring that more into the mainstream, I guess, and just make it even more of a viable option. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Rob. Just going to finish up, okay. And Rob's Reaper course was amazing. I know we're probably over time, so I won't keep you long. Just to say that, yeah, it's all about how can we bring it to newcomers. The way I think of it, a sighted young person or a child could pick up a fistful of crayons or paints and just start creating, just start making a mess, just start scribbling. But music tech isn't like that. You could have a go on a piano and bash the keys, but the sound on sound kind of angle is still a technical thing, and this applies to all kids really. So some work I do outside of UCAN is teaching young people, primary kids, to use GarageBand, and as soon as they're in, they start to get it, But then we have investigated GarageBand tutorials with voiceover, and I've spoken to Brian Matthews about this, and a big thanks to Brian. He's done GarageBand tutorials, and he helped me to start doing our own kind of thing, but it's an uphill thing. It doesn't flow really. It's not something you can give to kids and they're just running with it, and starting to put sounds together and have fun. And it should be fun, and it should be easy. It feels like the technology is incredible that we have. The accessibility needs to be incredible too, doesn't it, to keep up and to widen that access. And sound tech and music tech, it should be a fun thing, like paints, like crayons, something you can just get going with. So that's something that we're really picking away at the moment. And I just want to say quickly, we're also mates with Focusrite, who have a very developing interest on accessibility. They donated a load of equipment to us, which was amazing, including their new Vocaster unit, their new podcasting unit, which has a more tactile interface. It's more based on quite large kind of knobs and controls instead of referring to the screen. So we're starting to work with them as well. But yeah, we want young people to know that they can just jump in and have fun. And at the end of that, maybe they've learned, professional editing skills that they can take forward into adult life. And so those are the questions we're asking. It's been fascinating to hear everyone else's angle on these subjects too. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much, Alex and Rob, for sharing your fantastic project with us. I think we've got time for a couple of questions. So, yeah, does anyone want to ask anything at all? Mary Alice, yeah.
Do you take your work nationally or outside of Wales?
We do. A lot of the funding is for Wales. We are Wales-based, but we're always looking further afield. And we have had international projects. Like recently, we've flown people back and forth from different countries for different things, and we do step outside the borders where possible. So yeah, we're naturally Wales-based, but yes, we reach out wherever possible. So, and we're always interested in new connections, new friends, other people doing similar work or whatever it may be.
It's really interesting to hear because a lot of the work that Creative United is doing around accessibility in music education, a lot of your knowledge and understanding of the use of music tech for entry level, first access and beyond, there's a real need to share that knowledge, because if music hubs and schools in England, I know that you don't have music hubs in Wales, are to be able to get make the right decisions about purchasing equipment and delivering training and education, we need to be sharing your experiences more widely, because there isn't enough knowledge. I know Jay mentioned Time, Technology and Music Education, who are a relatively new organisation who are focused on exactly those issues, but we need examples of best practice from right across the UK and internationally. So perhaps I can drop you a line.
Of course,
about
absolutely. Share contacts with anyone. Obviously, we'd like to make a lot of contacts from today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Maya, just bring the mic over to you. There you go.
I just wanted to ask you if your tutorials for example, Reaper or GarageBand are available somewhere to see? Or
Yes, they are. We're quite willing to share those. We got Rob's Reaper course, which is downloadable as audio files, and also my first GarageBand introductory course is also same thing, so we can certainly share those. But also must reference Brian's tutorials. Brian kind of blazed the trail for what we're trying to do with that, so thanks again to Brian. But yes, please, we will share those. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Any further questions at all? That's great. Well, yeah, thanks so much. So just a big round of applause for Alex and Rob. Thank you. I'd just like to take a moment just to say thank you to Rob for, so Rob's been editing our podcast, so he's been doing all of the production behind the new Bridging the Gap podcast, which is 5 episodes long. There's several of you here today who have been part of that. So in a moment, James is going to lead a panel discussion with some of the participants from the podcast. So yeah, take a couple of minutes and we'll be right back. Thanks.